Okay, that's Andy.
Yep, it's me.
Okay, and we're starting. I'm sure Nate will join soon enough. But
Fair enough.
so what is for lunch today is ham bone soup that I made yesterday and pizza. Nate is going to flip
Yummy.
when I tell them that I'm dunking the pizza in my soup.
Oh boy.
Nate already lost it when I'm dunking my grilled cheese in soup.
Hmm.
Did you see that clip?
Oh boy. No, I haven't. No.
Okay, it's in my shorts section, but it was just such a funny moment on one of these that I had to clip it out.
Oh, fair enough. Oh man.
Because Nate lost it.
Oh boy. uh. So.
Mhm.
Oh man. Has the I haven't really been paying attention. Has the newest chapter of Zetrabel 2 come out yet?
I don't know. Let's check.
All right.
Zach Bell sequel manga. We're on chapter 24. Maybe coming in the next issue.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Last chapter was in May 14th, so yeah, I think next one is 23. Wait, no, they have 23, yeah. Of course, they have Rhea Scrummery in a schoolgirl outfit.
Is that what pops up?
From
Is
the
that what
waiting
pops
stream,
up?
yeah, they have who I believe is Rhea Scrummery from School of the Dead. Yep.
High School DxD. Yeah. Oh boy, she's a popular one. That's for sure. But she's yeah, High School DxD in general is a pretty popular one.
But from what I hear, it's largely a fan service anime.
Kinda, yeah. It does have a decent story though and decent characters. It's definitely one of the better fan service anime.
Well, that's good. At least it's not like Monster Musume, where the dude is like dating like 6 or 7 different monster girls at the same time, and then on top of this, the ones he's isn't dating like 5 others
Daddy.
also.
Fuck's sakes. Daddy. No, I'm just saying the line for the show.
Oh, darling, yeah. What? Right?
Yeah, the
That sounds like more
snake
like
girl. What?
Yeah. Lamia's were. Huh? Go ahead,
What'd you say?
Andy. I said Lamia's.
No,
were,
no. What'd you say? They were what? Sorry, I'm not sure if you're just not speaking or if you cut out, but I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. My voice got disconnected for a minute.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
It's cutting out a little bit, but I can hear you right now.
Okay. That's odd. We'll see how the Craigbot recording comes out.
Fair enough.
Which hopefully more
I can
people
hear you
watch
just.
these.
I can hear you just fine right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But Lamias were basically snake women from um a certain island in Greece. And the funny thing is about Monster Musume is that they actually do get it pretty close to the actual mythology, whatnot with Lamias having their own island and being exclusively women that must humans. It is a hilariously
Kind of like
accurate
that, yeah.
detail.
Yeah, the show's all right. It's definitely not. It's definitely one of the better ecchis out there. At least it tries to be somewhat accurate to the lore that it's representing.
Mm-hmm. I will grant it that.
Which I think is a good thing because
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think it's a good thing when a show tries to be lore accurate as much as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's insulting your intelligence.
That makes sense. Yeah, basically.
Speaking of which, another video I have planned on the Zatch Bell end is a Bell end. That's a British term.
I thought you meant Belle Isle for a second.
It's another, yeah, if you missed a consonant, yeah, Belle Isle as well. But to that note, another pun, clear note. To that clear note, I do have another video planned on why exactly Zatch Bell kind of failed here in the West. And while I don't necessarily blame Jeff Nimoy for making the choices he did with the dub, the choices he did make were part of that reason. Because there is a principle in marketing called core demographic. Are you familiar with that term?
It's called what now?
Core demographic. Are you familiar with that term?
What demographic?
Core demographic.
What demographic? Oh, core demographic. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, that is what makes up 50% of your market share for virtually any product whatsoever. Like, literally about 50% of it. And here's the thing. That 4Kids style, like heavily edited, heavily censored sort of dubbing, it kind of works initially for products that have like a heavy amount of product tie-in, and on top of this, when there is very little competition. Because here's the thing, those 4Kids dubs of like Pokemon, Digimon, and other stuff worked initially in the late 90s and early 2000s because they had virtually no other competition. Like, Funimation was still getting off the ground, and same with Viz Media as a dubbing company as well. They were
True.
Yeah, they were just getting started. And so because there was no other competition and virtually no other anime on TV, that is why 4Kids could get away with dubbing the way they did. And
Yeah.
they were able to do it for so long, as well as because of the products they were working with. Like, they got away with it with Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while as well, because again, there was just no other.
Well, they still do. Well, they still
no.
do it with. They still fucking do that with Yu-Gi-Oh. They
Well,
still
no.
do it with Yu-Gi-Oh to this day.
Well, they not 4Kids, but Media Blasters, I guess, carries it on. But I think they don't do it to near the intensity that they used to.
Pretty sure Konami is the one that directly dubs it now, kind of like how Nintendo of America is the one that dubs Pokemon now.
Right, and I think they only carried over the voice actors and like a few of the translations, but that's about it. I'm not sure how heavily they censor it these days.
Uh, they still tend to do the 4Kids style of things, change the OST, change the dialogue, give cringy voice actors, change the characters' names. They still don't like to do the regular traditional dubs. They just still like to do the Americanization type of stuff.
Right, and I guess if
Like
Konami does it directly, I guess they just hired all the 4Kids voice actors because 4Kids, I think, actually filed for bankruptcy.
yeah, 4Kids went under a long time ago. But basically Konami essentially saved their asses by basically taking their production team and their staff and their voice actors and carrying them over to their own production team at Konami, so that way they can continue working on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and I guess they basically.
I don't know why. I'm guessing it's because Konami just gives that little of a shit about the anime, and they only see it as just nothing more than a tie-in product to advertise the card
Right.
game to little kids so they can take advantage of their. I'm here. I just want to say this real quick, by the way. I am so sick and tired of these companies, these big corporations and stuff, taking advertising towards children. I think that should be completely outlawed. You should not be able to advertise a product toward a child because all it does is just get them to basically be like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I want this cool thing I saw on TV. The narrator said they were so cool." Like say for example, action figures, Yu-Gi-Oh, trading cards, video games, etc. And it's just like at that point, what it does is it creates a huge amount of stress for the parent because they have two options: either one, do the smart thing and not buy into the bait, but then they have to deal with the kid constantly whining and having to go through a huge process, which is already should not have to be a thing, considering it's already hard enough just to put bread and butter on the table as it
Yeah.
is these days anyway. Or the other option is you listen to the kid, you buy the thing, and then you end up with another situation. Either A, they get bored of the thing and then just throw it down right away because they realize they don't actually want it because they're a kid, they don't know any better. Or B, they end up getting addicted to it and just end up becoming a dollar symbol for life.
Right.
Like for example, Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards, etc. And this is why I feel like that these companies should not be allowed to advertise towards children because it just takes advantage of their naivety and of their non-developed brain, and it just adds more stress on an already stressful life for the
I
parents.
mean,
It's just it's absolutely ridiculous. Corporations, they just see children as fucking dollar symbols, and it makes me sick.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the thing. I think advertising towards children should be definitely toned down, or at least there needs to be standards for it. You know, at least in some respect, because kids are going to want toys. That's kids have always wanted
Of
toys.
course.
They always have wanted
Yes.
toys, and they always will want toys.
Of course. Although these days, no, they don't even want toys; they just want phones.
Yeah,
And stuff like that.
like that is something I think should definitely be regulated because what we're finding out is like kids who are given like smartphones and touchpads at like age 3, we find out like they have
That's disgusting.
and like they have no like dexterity in their fingers by the time they turn 10, and they have like trouble actually manipulating things with their hands. It's like, okay, that is fucking a kid up. That at that point, that's unethical. You should not.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely fucking disgusting, and that's why I'm just so sick of these corporations aiming their advertisement teams towards children. It's like if you do it to, like, let's say, I don't know, let's say to teenagers or young adults. Okay, that makes sense. They know better to buy it or not. If they choose to do it, that's their own fault. If they choose to buy in, but children don't know any better.
Right.
So they're taking advantage of these non-developed brains for the sake of, because what companies should be doing, they should be trying to help children, trying to help the parents raise them right and teach them valuable life lessons, not use them as a cheap dollar symbol so that way they can make easy money off of a very easy audience.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
It's
In an ideal world.
It's basically a lower version of being a child predator. Obviously, being a child predator is a whole different league.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's the same idea. They're taking advantage of a child's naivety in order to get something they want out of them.
Yeah, in many respects, that's true. Like I said, there should be some kind of standards going on for things like this.
There used to be back in the 70s and earlier. In the mid 80s and during the Reagan administration, they fucking decided to deregulate the advertising
Oh,
industry.
that's why toys
So that way, yeah, it started in the 80s. I'm just I'm gonna do some research into it, and because once they deregulated, it was a certain act that they undid, and ever since then, the fucking advertising industry has just exploded with freaking like by thousands and thousands of percentages towards children. Like with toys, and then going into the modern era, video games, cards, iPhones, etc. You have so much shit that just gets advertised towards children just for the sake of, like I already said, because they're easy customers. They're dollar symbols for life.
right.
And I find it to be just disgusting. It didn't used to be the case, but big corporations were able to influence politicians, as they always
Yep.
do, and were able to freaking basically get their way.
Pretty much.
It's the same thing with the tobacco industry. Every time that they try to regulate
I mean, shit. It took us until the 70s for the Surgeon General to finally admit, oh yeah, cigarettes actually cause cancer.
yeah,
Up until from the 30s until the 60s, people thought smoking was healthy for them.
yeah, they did, and that's what advertisers did as well. But they knew the whole time. Advertisers knew the whole time that it was not healthy for them, but they did it anyway because,
Right.
it's easy money.
Yeah.
That's why you had people like Edward Bernays using getting women into smoking and stuff like that back in the 20s and 30s, telling them, "Oh, it's so cool. You'll look so cool for your man if you go and start smoking. You look badass."
And the Flintstones.
And then
the Flintstones advertised Winston cigarettes.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. It's the same thing for Oh, and that by itself is already another advertisement towards children as well. Like you don't even have to have a commercial itself target children.
Right.
If you have a popular kids show that kids love, and you have a character doing certain things, the children are going to want to imitate what their characters on screen are
Right.
doing. So if they see, if they see a really cool character and they're smoking or taking dope or whatever, it's just like, oh, I want to be just like him, so I'm going to do the same thing.
Right.
Now, obviously, it's a parent's job to teach their children to know better. But a lot of them, especially these days, because we have so many bad parents, they don't do that.
I mean, this does kind of circle back to my point.
Yeah.
Like I said, the reason why the Zatch Bell dub on Viz Media's end failed was because Jeff Nimoy, kind of looked at Zatch Bell, just took, for one thing, the main problem was he didn't even want to direct it. That's the main problem. That was the main problem. He didn't want to direct it. So he took in my opinion, a very lazy approach to dubbing it, because he thought this would, maximize revenue, because kids are, going to want to eat this up. But it's like, again, kids will have an initial investment, then as they get older, these choices are going to start insulting their intelligence.
Also, this isn't exactly something like, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, where you can easily market a product off of it. This is Zatch Bell.
Yeah, Zatch Bell did not have a lot of heavy product tie-ins initially.
Yeah,
so it's like,
exactly.
This is not going to be able to fall back on product tie-ins. This is, something that's going to have to stand or fall on its own. And because Jeff Nimoy made that choice, a lot of people just didn't get invested early in. And so I think that lack of revenue is what caused Toei Animation to just say, okay, we just won't give Zatch Bell a proper fourth season, because frankly, Fado arc, as long as it went on, it arguably could have gone into a fourth season. and then
Yeah.
they could have just done
Oh,
like filler episodes for the rest of that 4th season, with Clear Note being season 5, and then basically, I don't know. That's the other thing. If they had done it that way, would they have like pressed Makoto Raikou to step on the gas on making a sequel? Would the sequel look the same?
probably.
That's the other question.
But, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that Zatch Bell was actually doing pretty good in terms of ratings, both in the U.S. and in
Ratings,
Japan.
yeah, but I'm talking like the main reason why they probably didn't continue to a season 4 was, like I said, probably just on the Japan end, it just was not making enough money.
Well, the initial reason why the anime ended was because Raikou broke his hand.
And so they're like, if they were gonna press him to, get started on a sequel, they couldn't do it at that time. Because that's the thing. Like, if they were gonna do season 3 and 4 properly, then by the time they would start animating the Clear Note arc, someone at Toei Animation would approach him and go, "How's the sequel looking?" That's how it would go.
The classic, it's doing very well, so we need to milk it as much as we possibly can, aka Dragon Ball, Naruto, etc. I hate when fucking companies do that shit. It's like, I really despise that a TV show's lifespan is not determined on the actual quality of the product. It's determined by how much easy money it breaks in for a company, and that's not a deciding factor in terms of quality. It really is not. It's like you have so many shows that get canceled. That yeah, and then you have so many shows that just keep going and going and going, and long after they should have died and ended. Like, say, this is one of the reasons why I love Fullmetal Alchemist so much, is because it had its initial run. It was very successful, but it had a good story and it had a good run. But do you see them milking it? No, it's done. It had its run, and we moved on. That's exactly what they should do for other shows as well.
And here's the thing, like, a decades-long shelving for a franchise can actually be very, very healthy for it. Like, Zatch Bell is a good example of that. The fact that there wasn't an immediate sequel, I think, was a blessing in disguise. Because that gave Raikou, 10 years to kind of ruminate, try other projects, stew on ideas, and then come forward with something he was completely satisfied with. And that is his vision, not Toei Animation's vision,
Yeah.
And then another one that's a good example is, I might have spoken on it before, but Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes, like, there was, the original movie from 1968, which is a classic. But I'll say it, of the 4 sequels that came out after, only one of them is decent at all. Like, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, very decent movie. Not anywhere near close to the original, but decent. But every other one was just like, okay, this was clearly put out just to make money. Just because Fox was losing its shirt on other movies at the time, and they're just like, okay, Planet of the Apes is popular. Let's just put out another Planet of the Apes movie.
Sounds like Terminator, sounds like Star Wars, sounds like Rambo, sounds like freaking Rocky, sounds like Need for Speed. Not Need for Speed, what the fuck? Sounds like a lot of movie series and even video game franchises that just never fucking die because they just keep getting more and more installments because, easy money, easy money, we can't pass that up.
Right, but here's the interesting thing that happened, was that by the 80s, that little arc of movies had completed. By 1980, Fox was kind of scratching its head going, okay, what do we do now? So they tried a live-action show. That didn't really go anywhere. And then they tried an animated show. That didn't go anywhere. And so by the 90s, they were definitively scratching their head, and they're like, okay, how about maybe like a reboot? Because camera quality is improved, so let's let's try a reboot. And different directors were thrown around until we got that terrible 2001 one with Tim Burton. Yeah, and from basically all knowledge, Tim Burton's entire vision for that movie just got fucking ass blasted. Like, he had basically, here's what happened. He had an entire vision for this movie. Literally before they started filming, a producer from Fox came up to him, handed him a completely different script, and said, "All this has to be in here or we walk."
I would have just said, "Fuck you, walk then, bitch."
Yep. That's why Tim Burton, despite the fact the movie actually made money, Tim Burton, when asked if he wanted to do a sequel, said, "I'd rather jump out a window." But
That's about right.
once again, the franchise got shelved for about close to 10 years. And then we got the amazing effective reboot series that we have now. So again, shelving can be really, really healthy for a franchise sometimes, you know? Because again, it basically says, okay, here's our established canon. What else do we do with this? You know, and it gives you several years to just kind of think on it, you know? And with Toriyama's death, this is what needs to happen with Dragon Ball. If indeed Toyotaro, I believe is his name, is going to carry on the franchise. It's like Dragon Ball needs to be shelved for about 10 years, you know, before Toyotaro even thinks about creating anything else. At least that's my opinion. But weird that Nate didn't show up. Yeah, we're hitting 27 minutes here. So I guess Nate will be able to show up next time. I guess Nate got a little preoccupied, but that's okay. Any closing thoughts before we close this out, Andy?
Yeah. Fuck Dragon Ball. Hope it stays dead. Sick of that franchise. Seriously, it's gone on for far too long. It's been milked far too much. It's like freaking Star Wars. It just never dies.
Well, I mean, I think you can agree though that just shelving a franchise for 10 years, regardless of what it is probably the most healthy option when it's putting out nothing but crap, right?
Yeah, I can agree with that. Or maybe they should just, you know, get some creative brains and try to make a new IP instead of just relying on a corpse for the rest of their lives.
But,
like fucking Marvel does.
Right. At any rate, that's our show. Stream this afternoon, so see you later, Andy.
Yep, see you later, man.